I'm a private investigator. My client is convinced that his wife is a demon. Knock, knock, knock. I sighed. It had been a long Monday, and I was hoping no more clients would seek for my services. Oh well, it's what I signed up for. Come in, I said, trying to conceal the annoyance in my tone. The door squeaked loudly on its hinges. I convinced at the sound I need to get those lubricated. A dishevelled man tugged into the room and sank into the chair opposite to me. His hair was a rat's nest of grease. Brown locks, dark purple bags hung low under his eyes. Sunken defeat was written across his face. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Look, Detective Baxter Clankston. Close, though. And you are? Detective Clankston. Sorry, my name is Lewis. Nice to meet you, Lewis, I said, flashing him a grin and reaching over the desk to extend a hand. He tenderly accepted it. So, Detective Clankston, I really need your help. I pursed my lips. I really need your help. I'd heard those 5 desperate words more times than I could ever count. I wondered what it would be like this time. Cheating girlfriend was my leading guess. Okay, what's the issue? The man shuffled in his seat, suddenly taking a particular interest in the shoes. Nothing could have prepared me for what he next said. I think my wife's a demon. I stared at him blankly, mouth aghast. Was this some sort of joke? Did this guy just escape from a Louis bin or something? He seemed genuine, but I couldn't be sure. Did I hear you correctly? You said you think your wife is a demon. Yeah, that's about right. Look, I know this sounds absolutely unhinged, but you don't have to believe me. But she keeps getting more, how do I put this? Sinister? I get this really terrifying feeling whenever I'm around her. She stopped going to church. She's been staying out all night long. All she tells me is that she's going to see a friend. I've been too scared to question it. That might not sound too bad, but Jessie has always been a very religious person. She used to be the pickle of righteousness. I need to know what's going on. I'm at the end of my rope here, Lewis said, locking eyes with me. A pang of guilt struck my chest like a lightning bolt. He looked so broken. I could tell that Lewis really cared about his wife and that the whole ordeal had taken a huge toll on him. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm sorry, but I can't take your case. My last run-in with the occult nearly killed me. I can't put myself through something like that again. But I just want you to follow her. You don't need to have any interaction at all, unseen and unheard. I sighed. He wasn't taking this how I hoped. Lewis, I can't help you. It's nothing personal. But I have a strict no demon policy. It's just not something I can help with. He nodded rejectedly, standed, and pushed the chair back in place. He took 2 steps forward. The door then paused. $15,000. That was an eye-popping amount of money. I began to stroke my goatee. I could do a lot with that amount of cash. 15,000 grand for one job? How hard could it be? You've got yourself a deal. I agreed to start surveilling his wife that evening. I wish that I never accepted that job at all. That day, just as the sun was beginning to set, I parked down the street a ways from Lewis's house. He lived in a quiet suburb neighborhood. I couldn't condone anything out of the ordinary yet. I took a deep breath before stepping out of my car. I stuffed my hands in my pocket and began shuffling towards the couple's driveway. I kept my head low, pulling the brim of my baseball cap down, lowering down to my face as incognitely as I could. I kneeled down beside the blue Castle parked in the driveway and stuck a tracker inside the wheel well of the gear passenger side tire. With the less than legal part out of the way, I scurried back to my vehicle. Now for the fun part, waiting. I sat in my car playing Solitude for about 30 minutes before a tall, blonde woman emerged from the house, making a beeline for her vehicle. Jessie looked good for her age. Like, really good. If I hadn't done my research, I would have thought she was Lewis's daughter instead of his wife. The woman was pushing forth, but she could have passed as a college student. I wiped the drool from my chin and tapped on the tracking app installed on my phone before discreetly trailing her. It didn't take long until we arrived at our destination. I watched as Jessie's car pulled to a stop in front of the unskilled house. It was luxurious. The flush, expensive lawn was perfectly trimmed, and the pillars extended from the porch exuded an air of gratitude that I couldn't fathom being able to afford. Jessie soldered up to the front door and processed a key. She let herself in. I scratched my head. That was strange. I'd found nothing to suggest that the couple owned a second property, and certainly not one that nice. Well, back to Solitude. I didn't have a chance to open the game before a lifted black Toyota screeched to a halt in the driveway. Even at my distance, I could hear Luke combines blaring loudly over the speakers. A grimy man with a grimy white t-shirt and blue jeans hopped down from the driver's seat. He looked like he hadn't showered in weeks. I could practically smell the body odor and cigarette smoke waving off of him. Gross. Ugh. Don't tell me she's cheating with that guy. The man approached the home with confidence that he had no business processing. He knocked on the door and stepped back. A few seconds passing with no response, he raised his fist to knock again, but the door swung open before he had a chance. The greased ball stepped inside and the door shut quietly behind him. I decided to wait to fill Lewis in until I finished my investigation for the night. No need to lead him to the wrong conclusion if I didn't have all the information first. I thought about pulling out my phone and relaxing until I noticed any more activity from the house. No, I couldn't afford to be lazy, not with 15 big ones on the line. It wasn't hard to find dirt on the owner of the Lash home. Isabel Jarvels was 30 years old with no children, a master's degree in biology, and dropped murder charge. Isabel's husband, a 63-year-old banker named Harry, had died under mysterious circumstances in the couple's home. All the evidence point to Isabel. It should have been an open and shut down case, but somehow Izzy got off scot-free. Interesting. Why was Lewis's wife, a seemingly upstanding member of the community, hanging out with a suspected murderer? The whole thing fell off, as I would soon come to find out. It was